we go out to the Orange County Register building in Santa Ana, where we are joined by the ever-patient, long-suffering columnist for OC Outdoors, Mr. David Whiting. How you doing, David?
I'm doing great. That was a great piece on Lloyd Wright. What an amazing story.
Wasn't that fascinating? The thing I love is that the whole family is talented. His other son invented Lincoln logs. Are you kidding?
Incredible.
No one in my family has invented anything,
and
ever.
The gravestone for the tower. Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, yeah.
Maria finds the best stuff. All right, let's talk about the ride around the bear. We're all curious as to what exactly that is before we start talking about the gentleman who did it. What is it?
Ride Around the Bear is one of the top 10 toughest century rides. That means it's a 100-mile bicycle ride in the country, according to Bicycling Magazine. It goes all the way from Redlands to the very top of Big Bear, past Big Bear Lake, all the way up to Onyx Summit at almost 8,500 feet above sea level, and that's higher than Saddleback Mountain. So we are talking one tough ride. Then you have to go back down, and that may sound like a breeze, but if you've ever gone downhill for more than, say, 10, 20 minutes, and this is hours, it's not easy. So this is a brutal, brutal ride.
Where do you find these?
You know, it's just kind of out there in the cycling community. This is not a beginner's ride.
No,
and in fact, they put that in red on their, big red letters on their site. Not a beginner's ride, and you're sort of like, well, yeah, I think so. Most people would figure that out, but it's a tough one.
And, okay, the gentleman that you wrote the story about is not a beginner at pretty much anything in life. He's an older gentleman. Talk about who he is and why he did this ride.
He's Pete Tomeno of Laguna Hills, and here he is. This is almost 10 years ago, and he's riding here in the Human Race in Newport Beach in a triathlon leg. And he was in his late 60s then. He's 77 years old now, and in those days he was the second oldest. Now here he's the oldest, and this is just on June 6th of this year. He's on his way up the bear ride. And remember, as I just said, this is one of the toughest century rides in the country, so it's no surprise that he's the oldest. He does not give up. He's here in front of his home in Laguna Hills getting ready for one of his daily rides, and I mean every day this guy rides. He never takes a day off. I myself, I did, for most my bicyclists, take a day off.
Yeah.
He's up here again a couple years ago. He's been up the bear 5 times, including this year. He's getting ready for his 6th ride, and he's just an amazing, amazing guy. He got married, I'll say, when he was about 50, had his first kid when he was 52, and he jumps in and out of his silver Corvette like a much younger man. He's just something else.
And is he the oldest man to try this ride, the bear?
Yep, he is. He's the oldest guy. He has been for a couple of years, and as long as he does it, I think he's going to be the oldest fellow.
Sure.
I'm going to catch up with him one of these days, though.
Why does he do this?
That's a good question. I asked him that, and it always comes down to he likes a challenge. And when he says he likes a challenge, he really wants to bite off a big one. He's had a lot of crashes and in his years of riding. He's a real safe rider, but not the most lucky fellow. But he always gets back on the bike. This is one of the things that just amazes me about this guy. I'd call him about the toughest cyclist in Orange County.
See, that's the thing is a lot of times with cycling, you don't need to worry about your own ability, but the people around you. And how does he sort of compensate for that? Because I'm sorry, he is 77 years old.
Yeah, well, he compensates it by being a really tough guy. He wears a helmet, of course, all the time. He's got a mirror on the side of his bike, which is a good thing. He has LED flashing lights on his bike during the day and at night, of course. But he doesn't ride at night, maybe just in the dusk. So he takes all the precautions he can. But since he rides so much, and we're talking 40 miles on many days when he's riding, he's had a half a dozen accidents, been in a wheelchair a couple of times.
Oh, man.
But he always gets back on that bike, and that's something that really impresses me. He just is not going to give up.
Okay, David, thank you so much. Of course, you can read David Whiting's column in the Orange County Register as well as ocregister.com.
That's
Thanks,
right,
David.
online.
Thanks,
you.
David.
All right.
Appreciate it.